Welcome to Uganda Catholic Television, Good News for All. And thank you for loving our television. Thank you for all the support that you are giving to Uganda Catholic Television, a very important instrument that the Catholic bishops of Uganda established for us so that it should be a medium of our interaction between us and you, our beloved viewers. Thank you for loving Uganda Catholic Television. And I warmly welcome you now once again to our weekly program brought to you from the Justice and Peace Department of the Uganda Episcopal Conference. And in the studios tonight, my name is Emmanuel Kiiza ALIBA. I am the Executive Secretary of the Justice and Peace Department of the Uganda Episcopal Conference. Thank you for always loving our program, Responsible Citizenship, Responsible Leadership. I get a lot of feedback from you, our beloved viewers, that you love this program and continue loving it and continue watching, always being on Uganda Catholic Television. The last time we were here, we had started the journey on understanding the encyclical that the Holy Father wrote to us in 2015, and that is Laudato Si. The encyclical, or the letter, if I can use the normal word, the letter that the Pope Francis wrote to us about the earth, treating the earth as our home, treating the earth as our common home, where we all live, where we feed from, where we enjoy the benefits that God gives us, and we find them on the earth. This planet called Earth, where we all live. So the Holy Father gives us guidance on how best we should live on this planet. When we change the planet, we shall have also other laws to govern us when we are in another planet. But the Holy Father is calling upon us that we should always remember that the world, that the earth is our common home. We all live in this world. And so there is a way the Holy Father is asking us to treat our common home. But in summary, the Holy Father would like us always to be conscious of our actions whenever we are dealing with the earth, the human action. So we saw the summary of this letter, of this encyclical, Laudato Si. But I would like, as we said last time, I would like to encourage you. You cannot understand fully this encyclical unless you read it all. Please have some time and read this encyclical. Have some time and read this 184-page book from the Holy Father. It has a very rich message for each one of us. So however much I'm giving you my personal perspective, as I'm giving you some summary about it, this is not exhaustive enough. The best way is to get the book and read it. This book is all over. It is in soft copy, you can download it. It is in hard copy, you go to St. Paul's bookshop. I've bought there several copies for the people whom I give the copies. You can get it from the diocesan canteens. I hope they are there. If they are not there, they can always send from St. Paul's bookshop. So let's acquire that book, that encyclical, and read it all. And what I've realized, and many people agree with me, that when you read at once, you read it once, you don't understand it so well. The best is to read it twice or even 3 times. Then you get what the Holy Father is telling us in these 184 pages that he writes to us. So the best way is to read it. But for those who do not have enough time, then we try to give a summary in our own words, in our own way, so that you at least get the glimpse, a quick overview of this encyclical Laudato Si. So Laudato Si is an encyclical of Pope Francis, which he published in 2015. This letter, this encyclical, focuses on the care for the natural environment and all people, as well as broader questions of the relationship between God, human beings, and the earth. The encyclical can easily be called care for our common home. A care for our common home. This encyclical gets the title from the first words of this document. Praise be to you. Those are the first word. Praise be to you. Laudato Si. These words of praise be to you are part of a quotation from St. Francis of Assisi's Canticle of Creatures that opens the encyclical, in which the saint praises God by meditating on the goodness of the sun, the goodness of the wind, the goodness of the earth, the goodness of water, and other natural forces. Remember, Pope Francis takes on from that St. Francis's tradition. St. Francis of Assisi had a great love for nature, had a great love for the environment. And St. Francis of Assisi was a great man who loved peace, the inner peace, and also the peace of everybody. That's when, you remember the song of St. Francis, make me a channel of your love. Where there is despair, let me bring, love. Where there is no peace, I give you peace. You remember that prayer, great prayer for peace from St. Francis. He loved peace. And how I wish each one of us would love that peaceful environment and would work towards that peaceful environment. I see many people going to Murchison Falls. Many tourists go to Murchison Falls. Why? There is serenity there. When you are at Murchison Falls, you hear how the water is making that calm movement, that noise of the calm movement of the water. You look at the animals in their natural habitat. You see the lions are there. You hear the birds sing in the morning. You feel you are really at home. You feel so good. So someone pays money. Someone invests from the United States of America, invests and says, after 4 years of my investment, I am going during this holiday to be in Murchison Falls. Why? There is something unique with that nature there. And this is what St. Francis said when it sees the green grass, the rain, the wind, in the morning there is that sunshine that comes in the morning. You say, praise be to you, our God, because of the natural environment, the beauty of nature. But then, when you see what is happening now, we do not seem to appreciate this beauty of nature. That natural, beauty that brings us joy, that inner joy. Sometimes we have a break and we go to, there is that hotel somewhere in the park, in the River Nile, above River Nile. I've forgotten that name of that. Sometimes we go there and you really feel there is a life. You gain a lot of life because of the environment there, because of the serenity of the place. And the Holy Father is reminding us that this is the way we should live among ourselves and among the nature. We can create a place, we can have our homes look like that. You have a clean home. Last time we were for the coronation anniversary, last week we had a coronation anniversary commemoration of our king, the Omokam of Bunyoro. The Prime Minister in his speech said he wants the Bunyoro to have a home, each one to have a home. So they're not expensive, but a home which is very comfortable to stay. It doesn't need to be an expensive home, but a home where you go and you are comfortable. In our local language, he called it Eka erukwesi misa. Eka erukwesi misa. A home that is comfortable. Even if it is grass thatched, but can we make it comfortable so that when you go back home, you are very comfortable? So we can begin from our own homes, following what the Holy Father is telling us. We can begin from our own compounds. We can begin from our own villages as we move ahead to other strata of our human living. We can do it. And especially moving out of your gate. I see a number of us, when I have the opportunity to enter into your gates, it is very clean. You have some gardens of flowers, you have some fruits around, you have some trees around. But once you get out of the gate, you are welcomed by buveras being brought by water, the running water, the wind. When you are passing, your neighbors, you are not bothered. After all, you are passing with your car, you have raised the glass of your car. And I think the Holy Father is saying, as we move from where we have been to our home, we should ensure the place is good and people are We concern for one another. We help each other to live well. So, this is Laudato Si. Now, Laudato Si is divided into 6 chapters. And each of these chapters, you can read them in 20 or 30 minutes. You can read each chapter in 20 or 30 minutes. So if you devoted like 30 minutes every day to read Laudato Si, within 1 week, you'll have completed the book. So I strongly encourage you, our viewers of Uganda Catholic Television, to have time and read personally this encyclical, this letter, Laudato Si. It's very important. The Holy Father gave it to us with a very specific message of how we should be able to live among ourselves and and within this environment where we are, so that the earth is a comfortable home for each one of us. So it has 3 chapters. The first chapter, the Holy Father reflects on what is happening to our common home. What is happening now? When you read the first chapter, the Holy Father analyzes what is happening right now in our different environments where we are. What is happening? It summarizes the scope of the current problems related to the environment. Fellow viewers, you know what is happening now in regard to our environment. The phenomenon is not the best. People do not care. As long as you get money, that is, people are so obsessed with money to an extent that money makes us, for example, build in swamps. You are building in a factory in a swamp because you want money. But remember, the Bunyoro have a saying, amaizi gahondera omugera. Literally, water follows its path. Where it has ever passed, it will, one day it will pass again. Amaizi gahondera omugera. The path is omugera, where the water passes. The road of the water is omugera, if I can use the simple word, the road of the water. Amaizi gahondera omugera, water follows. So if you think this one is dry, this swamp is dry, and you build there, we have seen it here in our country and in very many other places. I was in Australia. When a number of things were taking place. You can Google my name, and you Google my name, you will see where I was in Australia. You Google, you put Dr. Kiiza Emmanuel ALIBA. Kiiza with K-I-I-Z. Dr. Kiiza Emmanuel ALIBA. You Google and see where I was in Australia. There is somebody who wrote about me there while I was there. You read that article that someone wrote about me. So I was there at the beginning of the year 2008, in January. And strange things were happening in the same continent, in the same country, because Australia is small. For us, we were staying what is this city? In the state of Victoria. We were in the state of Victoria, in the small town called Stonington. Now, in the Victoria, one evening we went and visited a beautiful forest in the state of Victoria. Only to hear that the following day, this forest caught fire. If you remember the bush fires in Australia at the beginning of 2008, I was there personally. By then I was the Prime Minister of Bunyoro Kingdom. I was there. Now, the same time, when people were facing with bush fires in the state of Victoria, in Queensland, there were floods. You can imagine two opposites taking place at the same time, in the same, in Queensland, people are dying of floods. In Victoria, people are dying of fire, bush fires. I remember that day when the forest caught fire, we couldn't move outside. The temperatures could not allow you. The winds were so hot, you push the door, the wind will push you back. So that day we did not go out of the houses. We remained in. The temperatures were so hot. I was there myself. Here I see it also when I'm traveling. We used to move like I used to move in 1986. I would move from Kibale, I go to Hoima for my studies. I remember the beautiful forests that we were going through, they are no more. And people are saying they are planting trees. If you see the trees that are being planted, they are they are destroying the environment more than conserving it. I have planted trees. What trees have you planted? Eucalyptus. Eucalyptus trees. I have an experience. I wanted to to provide some water for our village where I come from, so that I can pump the water and put it on the hill so that it can flow by gravity and our people to have clean water. The first well that I sank, I put a lot of money down there. I did not get the water. Why? Eucalyptus trees around that day, I had to sink painfully, I had to sink another well. So you planting trees, but which are not environmental friendly. So this is the situation where we are, and in chapter 1, the Holy Father analyzes deeply what is happening to our common home. Man as an aggressor towards the earth. Sometimes I look on WhatsApp. There was one picture, somebody had cut the tree and it was almost falling. It was a big tree, it was almost falling. But he became tired and he slept under that tree because there was a shade. He forgot that he had actually cut the tree and it was almost falling. But he's sleeping down because of the shade. He said, now, you are destroying what you want. And you know the danger. So when there is a campaign of planting environmental friendly trees, this campaign is real. This campaign is not cosmetic. The Holy Father analyzes how we are treating our own home, our own environment, and says there is something wrong. In the same chapter, he discusses the issues to do with pollution, how we are polluting the atmosphere, climate change. Now, climate change is real. No one can tell me that you can succeed now in Uganda or any other country. You can succeed in agriculture if you are not using irrigation. Why? We are not sure about the rains. The rains can come during the time when they used not to come. And the rains can disappear during the times when it was plenty of rain. So you cannot predict now the rains. Why? Human action towards the environment. Water scarcity. You know, I told you I sank a borehole. There was no water down. We went deep, no water. You had to sink somewhere else. Water scarcity. No? I go to my people up there in Karamoja. If there is anything they lack, up here in Karamoja, in the east, water for the animals. Go to the neighboring areas, you know, in Kenya, those areas neighboring Amudati. Amudati is in Uganda, but the other side. Animals are dying because they lack water. Viewers, let me first stop here for a short time. We're going for a commercial break. And when we come in, we see also the other chapters that the Holy Father has written in this book, in this encyclical Laudato Si. Thank you for viewing Uganda Catholic Television. We shall be right back.
UCTV, good news for all.
Welcome back, our beloved viewer of Uganda Catholic Television. From that commercial break, before we went into the break, we were trying to get the overview, the summary of the encyclical or of the letter that Pope Francis wrote to us, wrote to the whole world in 2015, and that letter is Laudato Si. So we had said that this letter has got 6 chapters. The first chapter, we said the Holy Father in this chapter analyzes the current situation. What is happening now to our common home? What is happening now to our earth? So there are issues that the Holy Father needed us to realize. Issues in regard to pollution, issues in regard to climate change, issues in regard to water scarcity, issues in regard to loss of biodiversity, and issues to do with global inequality. The Holy Father is concerned. In the second chapter of this encyclical, the Holy Father deals with the gospel of creation. The Holy Father draws on the Bible as a source of insight and inspiration. He expounds more on the Genesis, the stories of creation in the book of Genesis, and says that sometimes we misinterpret those stories, especially when in regard to human dominion, that God has gave man to dominate over the earth. I said dominion sometimes has been abused. It's like us in our families. One culture says the man shall be the head of the family. The head of the family, what does that entail? Bulldozing everybody, being the only bull in the kraal, or being the only cock on the farm. You know, you have a farm of hens and you are the only cock. You know? No, this is an abuse of dominion. And the Holy Father is concerned. And it is that abuse that has made our earth suffer. Actually, in the other chapter I called it, we are an aggressor and the earth is the victim. Because we feel we have to dominate. You know, I go and cut the tree. Of course, the tree will not refuse the axe. I have my axe, the tree. Yes, I dominate, I cut the tree. But I'm cutting the tree that I did not plant. Actually, you'll find it. You'll find it in the following chapters. That we may need, the Holy Father called it an ecological conversion. Ecological conversion. If I cut a tree that I did not plant, who planted it? Yes. You know, it was very painful for me at home when I wanted to expand my mother's house. I had to cut 2 jackfruit trees that she had planted and we were enjoying. I remember one of them was very sweet, but I had to cut it in order to expand the house. I felt very guilty, but again I decided to plant more fruit trees to cover, to cater for those that I cut. I planted more. If you come home, I'll show you what I planted in order to compensate for the tree that my mother planted, which I cut in order to expand and beautify the environment of her home. Now she's dead, but I had to beautify that place. But there are people who cut the tree with impunity. People who deal in timber. It's okay, we need timber. But get the timber, harvest your own forest. Timber is, you know, how do I come and harvest your maize and put it on the lorry and go to sell? So if you harvest timber from a natural forest, which God planted for us, you are like coming to my home and taking away my maize and you go and sell. Cut the trees that you have planted. Plant your own forest and cut it. I will have no problem. But now all the natural forests we have cut because of finance, money. And now we are suffering. And the bad thing is all of us are suffering together. The aggressors, those who are responsible, and even those who are not responsible. We are suffering together. That's the only bad thing. Even the person, even the baby, who is very innocent, is suffering because of the other greedy person who is cutting the tree that he did not plant. So the Holy Father is saying, man to dominate does not mean you destroy. No. You can be a good man, can be a good steward of the creation that God has given us in this our common home. We can be good stewards, and we are able. So in chapter 3, the Holy Father traces the human roots of the ecological crisis. We are now in a crisis. I think it was 2017, at the celebration of the second anniversary of this letter, this encyclical Laudato Si. I happened to go to Rome. I was invited. Actually, I went, it was Archbishop Odama who was invited, my chairman, the chairman of the commission. But Archbishop Odama was busy, and he delegated me. So I went to Rome to celebrate the second anniversary of this encyclical Laudato Si. We had people from the Amazon. They were before the Holy Father. They were there before the Holy Father, reporting what is taking place in the levels of the waters are rising, and they are worried their land will be submerged into the water. I come from Hoima. I know what the floods have done. At the Butiaba. There are some landing sites that will never be recovered. Water has covered them all. You've heard about Ruzira here, just Ruzira. People suffering there. A number of water plants and so on have been covered because the water volume is rising because of global warming. So we are all suffering together. So the Holy Father calls it the ecological crisis. Why this crisis? The reasons? They say, one, unreflective use of technology. An impulse to manipulate and control nature. A view of humans as separate from the environment. For us, we are separate. The environment is alone. For us, we are here to, The narrow-focused economic theories and moral relativism. The Holy Father puts a lot of reflection on what is, on the roots of this ecological crisis. And in chapter 5, the Holy Father proposes that we need an integral ecology. There's need for an integral ecology. So he gives the main solution to these ongoing environmental problems. So an integral ecology affirms that human beings are a part of a broader world and calls for comprehensive solutions which consider the interactions within natural systems themselves and with the social systems. our common home, our integral ecology, the interconnectedness. We are like a computer system. You know, when I feed my computer, and there are so many things that take place there. As I look at the screen, I'm feeding it, I'm looking. We are all connected with the environment because that is where we depend. With each other, this social inequality, we have to address it. With economic policies, with the political, you know, that integral ecology, the social interconnectedness. So this is where the word common home comes up from. We are all interconnected. This one you can read it in number 139. Laudato Si. You know our encyclicals in most cases are numbered. Number 1, number 2. So when you read number 139 of this encyclical, you'll see how we are interconnected. So he said, in the same, I said, while the study of ecosystems has become well known in the science of ecology, integral ecology expands this paradigm to consider the ethical and spiritual dimensions of how human beings are meant to relate to each other and to the natural world, drawing on culture, family, community, virtue, religion, and respect for the common good. We had our motto when we were still students at Alokulum Seminary in Guru. The motto of that seminary is, we work for the common good. I liked that one. We work for the common good. So, the common good. I don't know how we are going to change, you fellow citizens of Uganda. I'm here in a program called Responsible Citizenship. And the Holy Father has brought it here. Responsible citizenship is working for a common good. Yes, it is good to get as many, as much as you can to exploit, have profits, but we need to work for the common good. We do not live on earth as islands. Remember, if you have something, you have some money, remember they are neighbors who are also created in the image and likeness of God, like you. Remember, as you are driving from the workplace, from your place of leisure, and you are coming home, some of you have remote, your gates have remote. Nobody now opens for you, you open by yourself. Some of you have sensors on your cars. Once the gate, once you reach the gate, the gate is able to sense the car and it opens. That is very good. Comfort life is good. But always remember there is a neighbor close to you who is also created in the image and likeness of God. If you can change a little bit of his or her life, this is what the Holy Father called interconnectedness. Paying attention to the environment around you, including human beings around you. So this is Laudato Si. This is the call to treat the earth as our common home. And the Holy Father is very emphatic on this, our common home. It is impossible, it's difficult or even impossible to enjoy the benefits of the earth equally. But we can do it equitably. Yes. We can have a special option for the vulnerable, a special option for the poor, a special option for those who are not able. We can have a survival fund. There's some things that really catch up my heart and my head. For example, there is a young graduate who is asking for a job in a local government, either district or local government. This young graduate has not yet started working, but when you reach the district service commission, they say, the members would like you to pay 2 million for you to get the job. Where is she getting the 2 million? From where? From which source? And the one who is receiving the 2 million is the one earning 2 million per month. And is the one receiving the 2 million. The young girl, the young boy who is giving the 2 million is actually going to earn 500,000. Our common home, the earth as our common home. We read, the Holy Father is calling us, he called it a conversion, but it's an ecological conversion, but also human beings, you need really to be more human beings, to be more human. Because the earth is our common home. Why can't this young person be helped? To also enjoy how his existence on this earth, our common home. Why can't we assist? So, lines of approach and action is chapter 5. The Holy Father calls us to action. See, judge, and act. That is the young Christian society children. It's see, judge, and act. So, and in the last chapter, the Holy Father calls for ecological education and spirituality. Ecological education and spirituality. So, this in brief is what I can talk about Laudato Si, a letter that the Holy Father writes to us and reminds us and calls upon us to observe, to judge, and to take action in making the earth, our common home, a better place for all of us to live. In regard to our actions, in regard to our aspirations, in regard to our relationships, not only with each other, but or with our neighbors, but also our relationships with the nature around us, with the environment around us. Thank you for viewing Uganda Catholic Television. Thank you for loving our program, Responsible Citizenship, and keep viewing, keep supporting, and keep loving Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for all.